Hey guys, let's make a wig today featuring MarchQueen hair. Yes, I know this hair is fire, and I'm going to be showing you how I achieved this wig, so stay tuned. So what you will need is a mannequin head with a stand, of course, some elastic, a spandex dome cap, some thread, some push pins, a hair tie, some scissors, and some pre-threaded needles. I like to thread them in advance to save on time. And of course you need your bundles. I'm using this Brazilian water wave hair. It is so soft, so pretty. I love this texture of hair. So this is the 4x4 closure that I'm going to be using. And this is the inside of the lace, which is medium brown. And it also comes with baby hairs as well. So we're going to start by putting the elastic or the spandex dome cap, onto our mannequin head. And we're going to make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to line up the part that comes on the closure. I always choose a middle part when I'm choosing my closures because it's easy. I don't have to pre-pluck anything to widen the part. And you want to line that up with the middle of the nose, and you want to use those push pins to hold it in place. You see how it gaps there? You don't want that because it's not going to lay as flat. So you want to remove the pin, stretch it back, and then repin it. So here I'm just tying the hair up and getting it on out of the way, and I'm going to start on this right side. I'm going as close to the spandex dome cap as possible, like to the front of it, and I'm going through the first top layer of the cap. These caps, they come with like 2 different layers, so if you go through both of the layers, the cap won't have any give and it will be really small on top of your head. So you want to make sure you go through the top layer only of the cap. You can feel when it's like really thick, like you already penetrated it all the way through. So just be really light-handed with that. And I am sewing this really close together so that it lays really flat. And to lock it in place, I swing the needle over the left strand and under and through the middle, and I pull it through just to secure the bag to make sure it's nice and tight. So I'm all done with that side, so we're going to go ahead and swing to this side here. And she was not cooperating. She wanted to show off already. Okay, we ain't get there yet. Please do not stunt. Don't stunt. You know, I have to manhandle this mannequin because it kept turning and twisting on me. Okay, I got something for you. You know how when we were little kids, our mom used to lay us on her lap and do our hair? I had to lay her down on my lap and do her hair because she wasn't cooperating. You see Max down there sleeping? So here I am just locking this section up because I'm done with that. And you want to make sure that knot is really tight, so just push upwards with your nail and then just cut it. So here's a little tip if you guys want to save on thread. If you take a measuring tape and you measure from the bottom opening of the needle all the way down to where you would knot the thread, the length of that should be at 55. This is just an example, so this one is at 52, but you will want that to be at 55 for your 4x4 lace closure. That way you can save on thread and you're not wasting thread. So I'm just going to remove those push pins, and I'm going to leave the ones in the front just so the cap can be secure. And we're going to start off with our first bundle. and this is 22 inches. All of the bundles I'm using is 22 inches, and this is the test here. If I unroll it and it like sticks together, then I know that the hair is going to tangle, but this hair didn't do that, so that's a plus. You see these little lines in the back? That's where I'm going to measure where to start my wefts at. So there's one on either side, so I'm just going to take a push pin and push it in place. That way everything is nice and even. So it should look something like that, just below the stitches on the spandex dome cap. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew through the cap and through the weft. Now when I first start off, I go through the wefts about 3 or 4 times, and then I go underneath of the weft, because there's no need to sew all the way through the weft, like all the way through to the end. It'll still be secure if you go around and under the wefts, as you can see I'm doing here. And you don't have to sew it really close together. I just happen to always keep them like a 1/4 of an inch apart, but you can definitely do them like an inch apart, like it'll go by faster as well. So I'm staying within that same row, keeping everything aligned with those 2 lines on the foam mannequin head. I do not like this mannequin head. It's too small for one, so it makes my cap and my wig come out really small. I do have a small head, but I have a lot of hair, so I'm going to look for a foam mannequin head that's a little bit bigger. I had one, but it was all poked up and it was just a ratchet. It was tore up. Okay, so I went to my local beauty supply store and I picked up this foam head. I noticed it was little, but it was all they had, so I just picked it up. So I'm going to just go back to the store I initially got my foam head from and get a bigger size, because I don't like how my wigs fit when I use a small styrofoam mannequin head. So that's a tip, you guys. Make sure it's a larger size mannequin head if you want your wig to have more give. I didn't think it made a difference at first. I was like, okay, will it make a difference? I'm still using the same size cap, but trust me, it makes a difference. And as you can see, that is a perfect fit. And I ended up doing 6 rows out of this bundle, so that was pretty great for the back of the hair. You can't get no better than that. It's just perfect. It fits right across, you guys. So I'm all done with that bundle of hair, and this is what it looks like. So now we're going to go ahead and start on bundle number 2. This is 22 inches as well. So I'm not cutting anything. I'm just going to push it in place just to make sure everything is lined up. And I probably have spaced these about a 1/4 of an inch apart. And I didn't cut the thread. I just kept the thread hanging from the previous track. So I'm just going through the weft Try not to go too far to the beginning because you don't want to rip through it, especially if the wefts are not sealed. And I was having a bit of trouble because my hands were slipping. I need to get some of those rubber things to go on the tips of my hand when I'm sewing so that it doesn't slip off the needle. But you just want to sew through the wefts when you first start off, and then continue to go under and around the wefts, and it goes by a lot faster when you go under and around. So I'm coming up to the side, so I want to make sure I'm moving upwards towards that closure. That way we're filling in the spots. And with this pack of hair, I think I finished up with 5.5 rows, so I didn't really, you know, go straight across. This wasn't a perfect row for me, so I got midways through, but that was still good as well. So here I'm just locking it up, securing the bag. So here's a slow-mo. Take the needle around and under and through the center, pull the needle over towards the right, place your thumb where the knot will be, and pull straight through and then clip it. So now we're on our final bundle of hair, and I'm not cutting anything. I'm just going to pick up where I left off at, try to get as close to that previous track where I ended up at, and, you know, just make it look uniform. So I'm coming up on my final track. So this one here, I'm going to make sure I get this as close to that closure as possible. That way everything looks seamless and is blended in together. And the side pieces, I'll fill that in after I'm finished with this. So here I am locking that section up. And this is the only time that I'm going to cut the weft. I'm cutting that off, and then I measure a little small piece to fill in where those gaps are on the side. And you just want to lock that up, and you want to do the same thing for the other side. I think I ended up with like just a little 1/4 of an inch section of hair left. That's all I had left of the 3 bundles. It was almost a perfect match. So I'm all finished up with this. Thank you, God, I'm finished. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those push pins from the front of the mannequin head, and let's remove the wig. And this is what it looks like in the inside. This is the lace. So we're going to go ahead and start by cutting off the lace. You don't have to make it perfect, just cut it straight across. Try not to cut the baby hairs unless you don't want them on, and you can go back and fix it up if you don't like the jagged edges. Now you see this U shape, that's where you sewed around the closure. You want to make sure you cut just before that. Please, 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 please do not cut those threads, okay, because your closure will fall down. So just cut like as close to it, but not too close. So we're going to take some elastic. I purchased this from Amazon, and I will leave the link down below in the description box. And I'm going to sew in an elastic band just for extra security. Now to measure your head, you just go from temple to temple. You want to make sure you go around the circumference of your head. Make sure you wrap it from temple all the way around to the nape of your head and to the other temple. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to sew through that and lock that up, and I'll finish and do the same thing on the other side. And mine is about 15.5 inches long. So here I am taking some LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Toffee, and that is the same color as my complexion. And I'm tinting the lace from the inside just so it can blend in with my skin tone. I'm making sure to get close to that front as possible and down the middle because I'm going to be wearing the middle part. So I'm just going to take my wig and place it back on the foam head and take down the scrunchie, and I'm going to wet the hair with some water. And we're going to go ahead and lay this closure down. So I'm taking my Denman brush and I'm going to brush straight through. And I have this push pin so that I can straighten my part out. And here I am spraying a little bit more water. And I'm taking this soft bristle brush and smoothing down the hair. And I'm going to use the harder side just to cover the tracks because we can't be out here looking like a railroad. So I'm going to take some Miracle Finishing Spray by Issy-10 and spray it for the flyaways. And this is the final look. And as you can see, it's flawless. If you guys are interested in this Brazilian wet and wavy hair from MarchQueen, make sure you check the description box below. So if you want to see how I look with this fabulous wig on, and make sure you check out my review video to hear my in-depth review on this hair. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.